What was that like in the Horseshoe this weekend?
Probably the most memorable regular season game I think I may have ever covered.
No kidding.
It was just shocking to sit there and be on the sideline and watch the reaction of the Ohio State fans seeing this in disbelief in the second half. I mean, they got outscored 28-3. I think when you saw the beginning of the game, at one point it's 10-3, and you feel like Ohio State should be up like 20-3. And then they give up a big play, and like, okay, this maybe will be respectable a little bit. Then they give up another big play. There was a moment in the third quarter where I was pretty sure at that point Ohio State's going to roar back and win this game because they have C.J. Stroud and can't stop the receivers and everything. Where one of the Michigan linebackers in a timeout rallied the defense, got everybody around him, and then Mike Sanderstill, who's their terrific little nickelback, probably the smallest guy on the field, by the way, stands up on the bench and is pointing at the Ohio State side, and he's like, we know who they are. We know who they are. And they're showing you who they are, basically saying we can see them quitting right now. And I'm like, okay. And then he's getting more and more impassioned and fired up. And you want to win the Natty? It starts right here. And man, if he wasn't, and at that point it was like the whole team was around, not just the defense. From that point on, they dominated the game. It was like, and you know, the thing that, having talked to him a little bit after, was like sharks smell blood. And they felt like Ohio State had just been, you know, it was kind of, I don't want to give too much of the boxing analogy, but it was a little like the Buster Douglas, Mike Tyson thing, where it was like, oh, wait, you know, it bleeds. Now we're going to take over. And I feel like the 2021 game was kind of it bleeds. We can beat them.
Yes.
And now all of a sudden it's like, here we are. This is the team. You know, I wrote a lot about this on The Athletic in the last couple of weeks about how Michigan was like, we probably can't out personnel them, but we can out culture them and we can out physical them, and that's how you beat them. And Jim Harbaugh has worked towards it, and the staff and everybody bought in, and it was really impressive to see.
But the out physical didn't really happen, at least on the offensive side of the ball, for Michigan towards Ohio State's defense. I mean, I'm not an all 22 guy, so I wasn't seeing how physical it might have been outside the numbers would say Marvin Harrison Jr., who is a complete beast.
Yeah.
And I know he's going to be a tremendous pro when he does get there. But the out physical didn't really occur until that fourth quarter.
Until they broke.
Right,
until they broke. But the other thing I would say is, you know, knowing the Ohio State side, they were doing everything they could to stop the run. And by the way, obviously, as you know, Blake Corum was limited. And on top of that, you have Donovan Edwards. I mean, if you watch the runs, because he comes out in warm-ups, he's got a hard cast on his hand.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, he's probably not going to be a factor as a receiver today, which is a big difference. But then even he's carrying that ball in essentially what you would think is the wrong hand on those plays. To do that, I think it was the team that just the tougher mentally team. And I don't think it's just like, hey, 9-on-7 drill and you know, all this other stuff. I just think it's the mentality more than, you know, they're going to try to stop us. But we saw this defense at Ohio State, which under Jim Knowles had not given up big plays. It looked like the ones from a few years ago where they were getting gashed for big plays.
So, you know, I was talking yesterday, or ranting is the phrase that people are using, that Ohio State fans are melting down. Chernobyl-like meltdown. I mean, to see on the Fox postgame show, fans behind Urban Meyer chanting for him to come back. I mean, I understand that losses are tough and hard, and this one in particular is tough and hard to take. I've been on the wrong side myself, as we all know, frequently, all too frequently for my taste. But is there, like, what are they thinking in Ohio State about Ryan Day? Is there any question about his future there?
I think the fans are. I mean, this guy's record is 31-2 in Big Ten play. I mean, 31-2 in the Big Ten. It's not like he's in Conference USA, right? But the two are the biggest games, and it's Michigan, and people, I think, in their heads kind of looked at it last year, it was kind of fluky, it was snowy, it was there. You know, then they had, you know, Aiden Hutchinson and 3 first-round picks on defense. It was like, okay, they're just going to get a mulligan. It's going to be a payback game. I think everybody except for the people on the Michigan sideline thought it wasn't just going to be a win, it was going to be a rout, and we're going to put them back in their place. You know, look, Urban Meyer lost games that you would think, how would they lose to Purdue and get blown out? How would they lose to Iowa and get blown out? I mean, even when they lost to Michigan State, that was a better team. But it wasn't like, but it was that game, right? But I think so much of it is like Jim Harbaugh and Michigan has adjusted how they prepare for really this. You know, they built everything around around the Ohio State matchup. But to think that you're going to get somebody in there who's going to do a better job than Ryan Day, I mean, to me, that's nuts. But I get it. The fans, like my just observations of seeing it were people were angry, but they were more in shock. They were more in shock, and the reaction is, how do we fix this? Does that mean we throw a ton of money at Mike Vrabel, or what do we do? Luke Fickell, by the way, just left. We know that was a dream job of his. Just left Cincinnati to go to Wisconsin. I think again, and I don't want to say I'm not an Ohio State fan who's paying money for tickets and anything like that, but like you have a really excellent coach who knows what he's doing offensively. You're talking about 18, 19, 20-year-olds. You're going to not win every game, right? Nick Saban, as great as he is, has lost games. And I think you gotta, I don't know.
So they're not going to entertain this. This is not even
the fans might.
No, I'm talking about
if Gene Smith and they decided to run out Ryan Day. I mean, I think to me that would be like lunacy at this point.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.